Mr. President.
Senator from Oklahoma.
I ask that the pending amendment be set aside and amendment number 3368 be called up.
Is there objection? The Majority Leader.
I object. I want to do amendments, but I feel somewhat ill at ease here with not having anybody that's managing the bill at all. So I would hope that my friend will. I will be happy to try to. I'll talk to Senator Leahy, and I'll talk to the. But I just don't. I'm not in a position here to agree because I'm not going to. One thing I'm not going to do, regardless of what the managers say, we're going to have a big stack of amendments here that we're going to be worrying about. I don't know where everybody is, but the managers aren't here, so I'm happy to.
Through the chair, I'd ask the majority, he does not want amendments to be made pending for us to debate. And
President, do we have amendments pending now?
There are amendments.
How many pending?
There's a substitute amendment and 4 first-degree amendments pending.
And you're filing a first-degree amendment?
I am.
One more shouldn't do much damage.
I'm sorry, I did not hear.
One more couldn't do much damage.
Well, I have 5 that I was going to place pending, and then I would be happy to work with the managers.
Yes, I say to my friend again, through you, Mr. President, I'm happy to do one, but I'm not going to, the managers, I haven't talked to them in the last couple hours. I'm not going to agree to 5 amendments. I have no idea what's in them. If you want to lay down one of the amendments tonight, that's fine, but I'm not going to, until we have managers on the floor, I'm not going to agree to them.
Senator from Oklahoma.
Well, then I'd ask unanimous consent that the pending amendment be set aside and that amendment number 3371 be called up.
Is there objection? Without objection, the clerk will report the amendment.
Senator from Oklahoma, Mr. Coburn, for himself and Mr. McCain, proposes an amendment number 3371. At the appropriate
Ask unanimous consent that the amendment be considered as read.
Without objection.
Now, if I may.
The majority.
I would also say to my friend, the junior senator from Oklahoma, the managers are going to be here bright and early in the morning, and I'm confident. In fact, I'll go call one of them right now, and if you could be here.
It's fine. I will. I have no choice but to accede to your wishes, so I will. But I'd make the following point.
Will the senator from Oklahoma yield for a question?
Absolutely.
Because I have a section of this bill, and I wonder if that amendment is relevant to my bill. I might extend some courtesy here.
This is updating the per capita damage indicator and the process for determining declarations. Declared no increase in that. So what is happening is it's too easy to get a declaration declared.
So
I'm trying to have them update that to where it's more reflective of the true cost.
I appreciate the senator's advocacy for Oklahoma and for
well,
others.
This would actually hurt Oklahoma.
But what I wanted to say to the gentleman from Oklahoma, my subcommittee deals with coastal impact. So the issue the senator wishes to raise is with the subcommittee on Homeland Security. If it had dealt with my burden, we could have had a debate. Because I know what you're trying to do, and I appreciate.
Last week, trying to get OMB and Commerce these requests, and what I can tell you is there is immediate needs for about $24 billion that we ought to be passing through this chamber to take care of immediate needs over the next 2 years in relation to the ship to this tragedy in terms of Sandy. Almost every amendment I'm going to offer or hope to offer is about transparency, is about limiting who can have access, like people who are arrears on their taxes for years and years and years. What we learned on Homeland Security Committee, who has the authorization of most of these programs, which I will become ranking member of, that out of the $100 billion plus that we spent on Katrina, $11 billion of it got wasted. And one of the reasons it got wasted is because we didn't have transparency, we didn't have good government amendments in it, and we're getting ready to make that mistake again. So I was asked to come down by our side of the aisle to have amendments pending, and now that I can't have amendments pending, I think I'll just talk in general about this bill for a moment, if I might. There's no one in the Senate that does not want to meet the needs of the people who have suffered from this horrific storm. How we do that is important. Meeting immediate needs in terms of the insurance fund for flooding. That's something everybody would agree on that. Nobody's going to object to that. We're going to be short on that. But also as important in that is that we should have a provision that if you were in a floodplain and didn't buy the insurance, we certainly should not be ponying up our grandkids' money to pay for you when you chose not to insure it. And the reason that's important, there's two moral principles why that's important. One is we're going to endorse irresponsibility. Number two is if we don't put that provision in this bill, the flood insurance program's never going to work. Because everybody in the future is going to say, don't worry, you don't have to buy the flood insurance. The Congress is going to take care of you. So it's just those kind of good government things that I'm trying to put into this bill, and now I'm unable to bring amendments to the floor, which is, there's no reason not to bring amendments to the floor right now. We're going to pick and choose what amendments we're going to bring to the floor when we have good government amendments. I'm at a loss to know why we would object to good government amendments. I understand the majority leader's reasoning. We now have 5 amendments pending on this bill, $60 billion. You take 5 or 6 of the agencies, this bill is going to be more than what all 5 of those agencies spend in a year. In this bill is 64% of this bill won't even get obligated until 2015 at the earliest. I also would remind my colleagues on a $64 billion bill, under our rules, we don't have to offset any spending anywhere under the rules. So this $64 billion, when we know we're wasting hundreds of billions every year in agencies throughout this government, we're going to borrow $64 billion and not do the good government cleanup. One of our amendments is about creating a website so everybody can see. One of our amendments is about not having no-bid contracts or sole source contracts. And we have all this experience from Katrina, where we know how the money was wasted, and now we're precluded from putting amendments on the floor that would keep us from wasting that very money in this emergency supplemental bill. It shows the dysfunction of the Senate. You know, in 2005 and 2006, we would not have had this happen. Amendments would be offered, they get voted down or embarrassed into not asking for a vote or withdrawn. Now we're going to pick and choose good government amendments. In other words, we don't want good government. That's what we're saying. And we don't